All right, it's 9 o'clock and let's get started. It's 9 o'clock and I'll call the meeting of the Codington County Commissioners to order. Mr. Johnson, I think it's your turn to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you don't mind.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, number 2 on the agenda is call for public comment. And public comment can be made in person. We have a spot on our agenda for that, or by telephone at these 2 numbers, 605-882-6248 or 605-882-6297. I'll remind folks to silence their cell phones. If you need to take a call, please step out of the room. Are there any conflict of interest items for any of the commissioners on the agenda today? No. No for me? Nope. Okay. And number 4, action to approve the agenda for today.
So moved.
So motion by Van Duzen.
I'll second that.
Second by Schwer. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries. Action to approve our minutes from September 5th.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Johnson, second by Waterman. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. Okay, that motion carries. And number 6, public hearing for our 5-year highway plan, highway and transportation plan. It's to take place. We're sorry, it says 9 a.m. We're about a minute late. Sorry. So there's nothing to project, is there? Was there anything to show on the screen for this?
No,
Okay.
no, this is just public meeting to go over any questions or anything for our 5-year plan.
Okay, so I guess I'll open the public hearing. Are there any questions about the 5-year plan? And can you explain how we publicize that?
This goes through First District. They put it all together between those guys and Danner Associates and myself. We come up with the plan for the bridges that need to be replaced and the ones that are load limited and on down the line. So there's a whole list of bridges that need to be replaced. It's just
Yeah, it's based,
time-consuming.
yeah,
So,
based on priority and
Yeah.
urgency. And
exactly.
can you hit a couple of the high points and then we'll maybe the top few and then we'll.
Well, like the bridge on 14th Avenue, that's load limited. And then we have County Road 20 that's load limited. That one's already been pre-approved. The one on 14th Avenue, I'll announce it now, but in my report, that one was, we've got funding for that one. And then there's one up on County Road 11 that we put in the applications here a month and a half ago. We were awarded federal funding on those to have those replaced, but it's still 3 to 5 years before those bridges will get replaced. Right now, they're load limited, so and this, we have to do this every year to update all of this, so.
Yeah, this is one area where I think the county, and it's it's a statewide system basically that causes us to update this, this key part of our capital improvement every year. So it's a very, very useful thing. Yeah. So I have this older version, but anyway, are there any public comments on the 5-year bridge plan?
Did you open up?
I did. Yeah. Or 5-year highway. Yeah, would you come on? Yeah, please come up and sit at the microphone. Yeah.
Our media folks have to be able to hear you.
Oh,
Yeah, please state your name.
Dan Teen, Waverly Township. Just wondering about the RAIL fund. How do we get involved with that? With the infrastructure? The
Rafe.
this,
Refund,
yeah, the township association said we need to go through the county. And I just wonder if any townships have had any funding from it yet.
Yes, Pelican Township is doing one right now.
And are they doing like bridges or?
They took out an old big box culvert and replaced it with culverts.
Okay, we've got a couple in our township that, and we've been doing our 5-year plan, and we have the levy. And it's on full maintenance roads, so we should be able to slide right into the funding.
Yeah,
So-
you have to submit your 5-year plan
We
to
did,
us,
yep,
and then you have to have
Application.
application
Do the
and stuff.
application.
And as long as you have your levies and all that,
mhm.
so.
And it has to be done on full maintenance road, and we
Yeah.
slid, since the wind farm came in and did a lot of projects on our road. All our roads are full maintenance, except for that section down where the county closed that bridge. It's full maintenance to the bridge from both ways, but they can't get across. So we've turned them into every year we put it on at our meeting, that it's a full maintenance road down to it.
Okay.
So if the county closed the bridge, and there was a controversy this summer a couple times with GF&P, but they, because people are still driving, they made a steel spillway,
structure to
yeah.
go through there,
And-
through their property.
And
Go around.
they've contacted us about maybe going together and putting a spillway down there so people can get through it. But, so that would, a spillway would be a lot cheaper than 3 sets of culverts or whatever, I think, anyway, and dirt work. So we just want to know, since county closed that bridge, if we can contact the county for assistance on it.
And there was a reason why they closed that bridge, because at that time when it was closed, there was nothing down there. Was there people to the west, but they
But
could still get out to
there's-
the west?
There was 2 farmers, and we're one of them, that have land on both sides of that bridge.
Mhm.
So right now, to work an 8-acre field or 5-acre field, we gotta go 5 miles around to get to it from the top down.
When did we close that bridge?
Oh,
10 years ago?
all of that.
Yeah, it's been a while. Okay. Well, so as far as the RAFE goes, we just need to get you the application, it sounds like, and then there's certain deadlines
Yeah,
for the application every
the
year.
application or the 5-year plan had to be in by the end of August. And the applications have to be in by, I think, the end of October.
Mhm.
So,
That's every year.
Every year.
yeah,
And then we prioritize. I mean, there is some money in the fund right now, so.
Yes.
I mean, just, and if you meet other, the other conditions, the state sets the basic conditions for it, so. But, yeah, it's a nice thing. It's a nice, I mean,
It's
appreciate
there,
the
take
legislation.
advantage of it.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, that's what it was meant for, was the townships, because I can't use any of the money in it for any of the county roads. It was all township
Township.
roads.
Mhm.
There's a certain criteria that they had to meet. I think they had to be over 5 foot.
Mhm.
And
Anything specific to the 5-year plan?
So, that's what we did when we did our 5-year plan last year, and I think they submitted it again right away this summer one time. And we include that bridge into it, but we have several other bridges, like we're working with FEMA right now on our water damage, and hopefully we get something from that. But, we have other bridges that are in the township that are only 18 feet wide. Cement bridges that are 18 feet wide with sides on them. Well, 18 feet don't cut it anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
there's tractors that are 18 feet wide.
Mhm.
And combines, no way can go down there. And so we've got them on our plan to maybe take them cement ones out and put a culvert in there.
and that's what Pelican Township's doing right now. They had one kind of the same thing. It was a big old box with the sides on it. And it's beyond repair and it's too narrow anymore. So that was one that got funded last year, and I think there should be getting done this week on it.
We've got one that's on the line between us and Grant County, and it actually sits at a little angle on the road. And I think we were talking the other day at township meeting, I think it's been hit 6-7 times by vehicles.
Mhm.
Just
Because it's not straight.
it's not straight in the world, and you can't mow it because the side is the same height as the grass, and so. Okay, so just need an application and.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you. We seldom get comments on our 5-year highway plan, so.
Nobody comments to him? I comment to him all
So
the
it's
time.
kind of exciting.
I stop on the side of the road and comment to him.
Okay, okay, all right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dan, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other public comments before I close? Oh, Sorry. Any other public comment before I close the public hearing? Any other public comments? Any other public comment? Okay, with that, I will close the public hearing. Do you want to, any last words, Rick, or?
No, it's just anybody that's
No,
put in
about the
their applications and stuff. Or their 5-year plan need to get their applications in, so.
Yeah, and that's for the rate funding.
Yes,
for the
that's
township.
for rate funding, and there's $300 and some thousand in there, and like I said, we've only had one use it, and you'll be getting a bill for that pretty soon. So,
Okay, all right,
thank
all
you.
right, thanks.
We
Okay, number
can't
6. Oh, you're right, thank you. Okay, with that, I'll close the public hearing. I think I did, but anyway, I don't know, I really did, but okay. Number 6, public meeting, I'm sorry, number 7, so we have 2 plat resolutions, so.
Morning, commissioners.
Morning, Luke.
Morning, Luke.
So we've got 2 plat resolutions that we have just been struggling with a time frame to get on here. The first one is a plat of Franzen 3rd edition, located in the southeast quarter of section 27, 11851. That's one of the townships for Waverly Township. This is located half mile south and 2 east of Waverly itself. 35-acre plat. Touch over, if I remember right on this one. Yeah, 39-acre plat, meets all of our lot minimums, and planning commission recommended approval in August.
Moving approved.
So motion by Johnson
I'll
to
second
approve,
it.
second by Schwer. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries. Then we have one other plat resolution, I believe.
Sure, the next plat resolution is the plat of Zemlicka 2nd edition, located in northwest quarter of section 11, township 118, range 51, yet another of the Waverly Township variety. This one's ways north. This is actually, I'm going to describe it as about 3 miles south of South Shore on the road heading south shore there. Again, we're talking about a plat of, I believe, I don't have a number handy, but I believe it's 35 acres, just a touch over again. Here it was 37 acres.
37.3.
Thank you. It meets the minimum lot width, because we've got a lot width of over 1,300 on one of them. Should be noted that the ownership of this is going to be the same owner as the south. So either way, even if it was a minimum lot width issue, they're going to be all together anyway. Bottom line is they would still have buildable right regardless. But 35 acres, and planning commission recommended approval of this one also.
Van Duzen moves to approve.
Second.
A motion by Van Duzen, second by Johnson. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Okay, that motion carries. What else do we got? And we got the first reading of an ordinance also. So number 8 is first reading of ordinance number 82.
Sure, and if you'd like me to go ahead and read that, I will.
Please do.
We have the first reading of ordinance number 82, which is a zoning ordinance amendment. It's an ordinance entitled an ordinance amending chapter 3.10 TD Town District of ordinance 65, and ordinance amending ordinance 15, and ordinance establishing comprehensive zoning regulations for Codington County, South Dakota, and providing for the administration, enforcement, and amendment thereof pursuant to SBCL 11-2/1967, and amendments thereof, and for the repeal of all resolutions and or ordinances in conflict herewith. Again, just reading it in title. This is a lot of words there, just a brief summary. Adding a use in the town district, contractor shops and yards in the town district. We took out a catch-all use because that's not really kosher with the whole constitution and stuff. So bottom line is we took that out and realized that maybe this should be listed in there. I'll give you more background on it at the public hearing, which is scheduled for next week, and second reading and action. But from that, just want to give you a heads up as to what that is. For that, I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Luke.
So this is the first reading of this ordinance. So next week we have a public hearing. So if people have concerns about it, please come and it's your opportunity to talk about it. And then we kind of basically plan, if all things being okay, that we'd approve it on the second reading, which is 2 weeks from, so that'd be the first week in October, right?
No, we're there. We would be there
Next week. Oh, next week we do it. We'd be able to do it. Okay.
So I'll give you a little more detail then, but just as a heads up, so you don't wonder why I read so fast. Other than to warn you that we'll have probably 5 plats next week as well. Got nothing else to add.
Right. Thanks, Luke.
Thanks. Okay, number 9, action to declare law enforcement vehicle surplus to be traded. And we have our sheriff here.
Morning.
Good morning.
Brad.
Just anyone who was here during.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right,
Okay, we got on this.
first one for the. My mic on, there we go. For the trade-in of a vehicle here. We have a 2016 police utility interceptor vehicle here. It's one of them white Explorers. Like to trade it in. It has 156,522 hard miles on it. They're offering us $4,000 for trade-in. We have our first Charger came in, she's getting worked on right now, getting outfitted. Our pickup came in, and that's when I was looking to trade it in on as our pickup here today with Watertown Ford locally, so. That's what
Okay, is there questions or a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by Van Dusen. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. Okay, that motion
Still waiting
carries.
on one Charger to come in from last year's order for this year, so.
Okay, then we have
This
some,
was for the pickup.
This one we're gonna trade in
Yeah.
for the pickup, yeah.
okay, then next one, we have some office supplies, I guess.
I think there was just some computers on there that we needed to surplus to be destroyed, so.
Move to approve.
So,
Second.
so motion by Johnson, second by Van Dusen. So that's on this, on the list of the first sheet there. So just the 2 tablets or 3 tablets. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 We'll say no. That motion carries. Okay, so next we have action to purchase supplies and update and fix front reception window in the sheriff's office. And we've got a
Alright.
quote on that, I believe. here.
I do have a quote on that, the front office window in the jail or the detention center, let me clarify, on the sheriff's office side, the detention center is good. The sheriff's office side here, we are looking to upgrade that front window. It's 25 years old, it's been having issues, we fixed it quite a few times, it's really flimsy glass. This year would be an upgrade here, make it a little more sturdy, a little safer for the office gals there. Our maintenance staff here at the detention center and sheriff's office is gonna do the install on this. I've already talked with them on this, and they're the ones that have been working with CR Lawrence, the company that would manufacture this and get it sent to us. So we're looking at $6,236.37 to buy the materials for the window and the framing and everything to update that front window, make it a little safer for our front office staff. So,
Move to approve that request.
A motion by Van Dusen,
second that.
second by Schwer. Any questions,
Is
discussion?
that on budget item?
Budget.
Yes, it is a budgeted item that I did plan for this year, and it's coming in just a little under budget, so.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please say aye. Please say no. That motion carries. Right, what else do we have? Any other? And we have the number 12. Well, you're a busy guy today. Sure. Action to approve 2 patrol vehicles budgeted in 2024.
Okay, say for next year, I did budget for 2 more patrol vehicles. And the time frame it has been to get them ordered and get them in. I've been working with Watertown Ford here, and I'm looking at ordering 2 Dodge Durangos for next year. Going with the SUV again. $41,906 is the amount that was quoted. It's right aligned with the state bid. By the time you get everything shipped here and not have to run across the state and pick up vehicles, so buying local here, $41,906 per vehicle. Order them now, they're hoping they can get them in the first set of buildings, so hopefully earlier in the year, next year, we can get them. So we're not waiting so long in the year. We know how supply chain's been going, so sooner we get them going, the better, so.
What did, you have a procedure or policy to rotate, vehicles in and out of the department?
I do.
And, could you just share that with us?
What we do is I try to keep them 5 years. 5 years or sometimes a little bit longer depending on the miles. A couple this year got a little high in the miles just because we're waiting for vehicles so long. Typically, I like to get them in January, February, March, so we can get them outfitted and on the road by early spring, kind of keep the miles so they're not so high. Like I say, this year, there's a couple that did get a little bit high, but I have a 5-year rotation plan. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, just depending on where the miles are. If the miles are low, we're gonna run it a little bit longer. Just to
Usually about 120,000 miles or so that you look at rotating those vehicles out.
120 to 150 kind of
Yeah.
seems the number where they kind of been going. It depends on the deputy. If the deputy's a little more active and running more, he or she may get more miles on them. So
It may sound like I'm wandering here, but okay, that we made an application for that COPS grant. And I don't know where we are with that, but would we need another vehicle if that was approved?
what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to hold one vehicle back that has some lower miles for next year for that position. So kind of doing some planning on that right now. So
Okay, all right.
So we still need a motion and second to.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase.
Okay, so for Duzen, second,
I'll second that.
just saying which way. The question I had, so this is for next year's budget. Budget's gonna probably, we anticipate approving the budget next week. So if for some strange reason that didn't happen.
I'm guessing Watertown Ford would be able to sell them to another agency right away.
For sure.
Okay,
Our first charger and the pickup have come in, other agencies have heard about that. They've been trying to pick them off from us from Watertown Ford already, so.
okay, so
There's a market for police vehicles.
okay, so
Yeah.
that was my question. Any other questions, comments?
Some agencies are waiting a long time before they're seeing these vehicles.
Is it
and they're-
possible we could make some money on that transaction?
They'll put us further behind on the budget, but I suppose.
I just want to commend Brad for buying local. I think that's important to shop local if we can. And so good work on that.
And also, you know, it takes a deliberate, thoughtful process to keep this stuff up to date.
It does,
So, you know,
yeah.
year to year plan. So appreciate that too. So, all right, any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
Please say no. That motion carries.
Brad.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Back to the FBI. Did you get it on that last week here?
No, this is just you guys, I think, this year.
What's this?
Next year is probably our turn.
Next year.
All right, so number 13 on the agenda is a public hearing for the 2024 Codington County provisional budget. So that's been publicized. Is there any public comment on our budget? I didn't, yeah. Oh, okay. I guess I will open the public, I officially open the public hearing on the 2024 Codington County provisional budget. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Any public comments? So with that, I will close the public hearing. Yeah, I guess it's not surprising that we don't get a lot of comments on our provisional budget, as interesting as it is to us. So, any other comments from the commission?
So next week,
Next week.
next week is when we will adopt the budget.
Yeah, so that's the plan. So any commissioner comments on the budget? A couple things, I noticed, if people are looking at it, you'll notice that it does this year's, so 2023 budget and 2024 budget somewhat higher than before. That's primarily because of an HVAC project in the jail. And thankfully for that, we were able to apply some funds that actually were freed up by COVID money.
Yeah.
So that, and the cost of that project is a little over $4 million. The other thing that we're dealing with in those two budget years, 2023 and 2024, is inflation. And that's something that, you know, inflation's been a lot higher, so we need to take care of our employees and give appropriate COLA increases. I mean, obviously, we're stingy as we can be about that, but we can't be too stingy. So we have to deal with the effects of inflation, and part of that, and that's some, hopefully that doesn't happen too often, but occasionally then we have to use some of the applied funds, which is basically money that we have saved, that might, in case that, the amount we actually spend exceeds revenue. So when people are looking at that from year to year, that they might notice that. So, any other comments?
Well, there's a few of us that just attended the state conference down in Sioux Falls, State Commission Conference. And I had an opportunity to sit face to face with some of the commissioners from some of these counties that are right on the verge of filing. They just can't make it. They don't have enough money. And it kind of hits home. We really need to watch there are some things that we have no control over. They're mandated and we have to pay them. And it seems like a lot of the big items are mandated, but there's a number of things that are not mandated. And I think we really need to take a long, hard look at the items that are not mandated because we can control them. And the last thing any of us sitting here at this board table want is to have Codington County and have them in financial trouble. So our responsibility, our financial responsibilities are huge, and don't take them lightly. Review these budgets, and myself, I think there's some that we could do without, or I'm not saying get rid of them, but probably hold the line on a lot of them. That's my only comment.
Yeah, so that was a few of us attended the South Dakota Association of County Commissioners. And if folks aren't aware, right now the legislature is finishing up a summer study on county funding. So a few of us were there. I testified on that one along with a bunch of other commissioners. So they actually set up their last meeting to coincide with the county commissioners convention. And so that people understand kind of the way state law organizes county funding. It's very different than other local jurisdictions like cities and school boards, but we basically function on property tax, and that's designed, the amounts that a county can collect on property tax are basically designed to keep the county operating, and then maybe save a little bit. The challenge comes, I think, particularly if we've done a good job saving, and this county has, and we have money to handle times when there's a big project. Maybe not building a jail, but a big project, say like an HVAC project like we're dealing with, or some inflation. But on the other hand, so you have to, be frugal, be good at saving. I think we've done that over the years. The other thing is, but when it comes time to build something, like we've talked about a jail the past few years, then you have to talk about, okay, how are you going to get that revenue? Because you really can't save enough because of inflation, particularly in construction costs from year to year. So that's kind of the way that it's kind of structured. The way the revenue scheme is structured for a county is basically to keep things running, save a little bit, and so that for a more or less rainy day. But then when it comes to the big stuff, that's why we have to go to the voters and say, okay, can we talk about a new levy for, say, a jail or for whatever the thing is. So, but anyway, any other comments on that?
Yeah, just as a general reminder to the public, over 90% of what our budget is mandated and controlled by the state. We have a small percentage.
Yeah, that's discretionary.
Actually, that we have control. So we get mandated following state rules.
Yeah, I mean, most of the big ticket items, yeah, definitely. So, okay.
Curious to see what the summer study comes back.
There were 17 individuals that testified at that hearing down there in Sioux Falls to the legislative committee. Of the 17, and I think that 17 that testified actually represented probably 17 different counties, that someone from each county, as we did, Lee testified in part for us. I think all 17 had something to do with money and budgeting. And one of the individuals that testified probably was the most realistic of all. He said, there's two ways to solve this problem. You know, number one, figure out some way to raise more money, or number two, spend less money. And that's plain and simple the way it is. And he kind of posed a challenge to the counties. We need to take a look at ourselves. What are we doing? Have we had any strategic planning? Have we done any work to try to figure out where we could increase revenues or where we could decrease our expenses? And they had some good points. And it took many years to get to where we're at now. We're not gonna solve it in 1 year or 2 years. There's no silver bullet out there. So we got to be conscious of how we are spending the taxpayers' money. Now I'll get off my podium.
Yeah. And I think that in this county in particular, I think we do a pretty good job of controlling that as much as we can. With a few exceptions, maybe we can do better. Myron, you and I had a chance to talk when you got back and about the difference between the counties across South Dakota and the different issues that they're facing, and every county is different. You know, we have different issues than they have West River, for example. And so that's why those meetings are so important to hear testimony from all the commissioners. So it's
Yeah,
good.
if anybody wants to go listen to it, it's online at the South Dakota Legislature's website. So, but all right. Okay, well, we closed the public hearing and then we made a few comments ourselves. So let's move on to our monthly reports. Number 14. So we have the highway superintendent.
Morning again.
Again,
I want to thank you guys for allowing me to go to the county convention. There's different things that I set in, like Rodford. You can never get enough of what he has for knowledge to try and learn from.
that's legislative audit for people.
Yes, and that guy probably forgot more than most people will ever know, but it's interesting to listen to him. And he puts on a good presentation. Whenever I get a chance to see him, I go in and see him. So I visit with him on the phone every once in a while about things that we have. So also, I'm still in the same boat like Brad, the supply chain. You know, everything that the highway department does has pretty much doubled. You know, getting back to the budget stuff. My budget looks like it's overinflated because I've got an extra truck that I put on there that I don't know if I'm going to get this year. So I had to put one on next year's budget so if it comes, it's on my budget. So
Can I add something to that?
Please.
So from the county convention, I was sitting in that same meeting with Rod. I had the question. So, this is happening more often than not where items are ordered in 1 year and they don't come till the next. It's budgeted in this year, but then it comes in the next year. So I've learned there is a process that we can do. We can do a formal hearing and then move that money back into that budget in the next year, because that is why some of our budgets are inflated, is because those items are getting put on twice.
Right.
So if we can do that and they know that, then they don't have to be going forward doing that.
We're only
There's-
spending at one time, but we don't
Yes.
know which year.
Right, so you have
Yeah.
to keep adding it in, so then it just, inflates your budget that
Yeah.
much more,
So
so.
that's a case in point, our HVAC project, because we thought we wanted to spend it this year. We might be able to spend a little bit of it, but we had to put it in budgeted in both years. So that's why both those budgets look really big. So. Yeah, that's a good point.
okay. Our fall mowing has begun on all of the Codington County roads. Getting things prepped for the winter months that are coming. The guys are out doing dig outs on asphalts and putting hot mix patches in those, to try and get some of those smoothed up. I've been over a couple of them that they did. And there was one west of the casino. There's a box culvert on a curve there. And yeah, it was bad. And I went across it last night, and I'm really proud of the boys. So that's all I can say. Yesterday, Andrew with emergency management, Brenda with the auditor's office, Lori and Lynn and myself with the highway department met with FEMA on the phone. We had a phone visit on some of the damage that we had this spring. And that's coming along. So hopefully we'll get that wrapped up before too long, because the damage that we had wasn't that much. The townships are the ones that really took it hard. Basically, we lost gravel and had time to put it back and stuff, but hopefully ours will be done before too long. The loader that we ordered last December came in the middle of last month, so that wasn't bad, but it's still a long time. Striping on all of our chip sealed roads that we did this summer was completed yesterday. And like I'd mentioned earlier, the applications we put in for federal grants we put it on 6 bridges. And luckily we got 2 of them. The one on 14th Avenue right here in Watertown, and the other one's on County Road 11, which is Old 81, would be 0.8 of a mile north of State Highway 20. We have funding for both of those bridges, which I was really surprised, because there was like $72 million and there was 200 and some applications, and a couple of them were huge, you know, between 10 and $15 million for bridges. So, and those were county bridges that were applied for.
Now, the funds for that, I was at a meeting this week that had one of the city fathers at, and he made it very plain to the people at that meeting as well, that it's a dual project with the city on 14th up there.
Yes, it is.
And that's fine, as long as it gets done. But now, how's the city and the county coordinated? Are you working with Von I directly with him, or?
Well, it has Von I, Justin Peterson, their engineer.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, yeah, we're all working together, Banner and Associates.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones doing the bridge project, so.
Now, their request was to make it a little bit wider than what we originally
Yes,
were, simply probably for a bike trail or
Bike path,
possibly a
yes.
walking
Yes.
path or something. Because right now it's not safe to go across there with oncoming traffic. I mean, you can, but
yeah,
take your
it's a
life in
narrow
your own hands.
bridge.
So it will have a different appearance, but I also made certain that the people in attendance there, I said, don't get excited, and get your shorts in a knot, because it's probably gonna be 2025 before you see anything happen up there. And that's probably about right. Couple
Yeah,
of years anyway.
25 or 26.
Or 26, yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
It just
Well,
depends on how everything goes, because also there's a shortage of people that build bridges.
yeah, yep.
So that pushes things back also. There's just not enough bridge builders. There's not enough equipment builders on down the line. There's a shortage for everything. So. Also, I had gotten an email from that Scott Pretzer from the DOT and told him I responded back about right of way up on County Road 2, that we weren't interested in keep maintaining 150 foot of right of way, and we weren't interested in having to pay for replotting it. So he's still working on it. So we'll wait to hear what he comes up with. We're still waiting for asphalt on County Road 23. That was a budgeted item. I was told next month that stretch will get asphalted. The micro seal on County Road 6A and 23 was completed last week. That came out very nice. I may be coming back with a quote. The bridge on County Road 6, that's 1 mile west of the casino. It's very rough. I'm getting a quote from Dunnix to put a apron on each end. There's roughly 40 feet. We were looking at it yesterday, and I'll get a quote on that, because that's really rough.
That is over the river too.
Yes, that's over the Big Sioux River.
So west of the casino.
Yeah, west of the casino, 1 mile.
That actually sits on a curve, doesn't it, Rick?
No, that's
It
a
doesn't?
straight shot.
Okay.
Part of that big bridge project.
Yes, that, the bridge deck roughly 5 years ago had epoxy ceiling on it. And that still looks like the day they did it. That's very nice. It's just the aprons on each end of it are rough.
It's just eroding.
Yeah, because the bridge.
Yeah.
It does, the way the road's a nice straight shot, the way the bridge sits in there, it's a little crooked.
Yeah.
It just, the ends are, it's nothing straight, but the road's nice and straight, but it's just the way the bridge sits in there.
The bridge rail was the one end, the west end on the south side was run into about a year ago. But was all replaced and it turned out good. It turned out nice.
Yep,
So
Just made it crooked.
yep.
Yeah, made it crooked. No, they were trying to straighten it out, I think.
But now the guardrail on the northeast corner, somebody ran into that and I have no
Was that
idea
right?
who did that, so. That'll be another project that wasn't a
Somebody's,
budgeted item that I'll have to get a quote to get that fixed, so.
somebody's field cultivator or something.
Or a semi rounding the
Yeah.
corner, one or the other. Like I had mentioned, the mower tractors are out mowing, the guys are working on the road, patching. And I know this is a busy time of the year, the sun's starting to get lower earlier in the morning and quicker in the afternoon, so. When you come across these guys, it doesn't matter if it's our guys or who it is, if there's somebody on the road, please slow down. Yesterday in another county, one of the motor graders got run into by a semi. The guy in the semi got hurt worse than anybody because he didn't have a seatbelt on, but you know, we all have to be careful out there, so. That's about all I have, so I'll email this to you. I've got handwritten notes on the bottom, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks. Veteran Service Officer, come on down.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Todd.
I'm gonna start a little bit of the signage for out in front of our facility. So I'll just pass that around there. You can take a look at that because I'll be asking about that a little bit later. But so we are up and running in our new office at 101 19th Street Northeast. The veterans that have came in so far are saying great, they like it. We really love it there, so that's all positive there.
Like you get inside, okay?
Yes,
No
it was
problem.
kind of like, I would say probably the third or fourth couple that came in, both came in with canes all the way up the ramp there and in, and it's like that they were very pleased.
Nice, good.
So that's a positive thing there. We did get one of the VA cars, one of our DA vans there. We're storing that at the clinic. We talked with them, so they allowed that. So we have one there. We have one at each location right now. Now we'll go into some more metric numbers here. We currently have 164 open working claims. 90 of them are pending action from the VA. Year to date, we've completed 188 claims. We also have the increase for the month of July in monthly compensation was $10,840. With a total year to date increase, monthly increase was $83,135. The month of July and retro payments, that's the catch-up payment to make the claim current, was $99,332. Year-to-date retro payments was $980,000 roughly. So we had 5 veteran transports in August and 1 currently scheduled for September. Interesting fact on that when they dropped off the other VA vehicle, DAV vehicle for us to use, I reached out to the Sioux Falls VA vehicle management to say, you know, what was the plan here? Nobody really told us anything. And he came back and he said that that our office uses our van to transport more veterans, puts more miles on our van than any other location within this, without counting the Sioux Falls VA catchment area, like the metro area of Sioux Falls. So that's just within the Sioux Falls VA Medical Center. It doesn't include Rapid City or anything like
Oh,
that.
So
But
outside of that,
yeah, we use, and I was kind of taken back by that, but he says, no, we're doing good. So that's a positive thing there. One thing I would like to remind everybody is that you know, the VA vehicle that we have here, I know it says DAV on the side of it, but really it's a VA controlled vehicle. It's in their pool. It's designed to transport veterans to VA approved appointments from that standpoint, just so everybody has a reminder about that from that standpoint, because sometimes we get calls and people get a little frustrated stating that it's a DAV vehicle and they want to get, and it's like, the VA controls it, big VA controls it. So Jay and I attended the VSO training here, the first part of September. Good training. They had a different venue. They had it at the Alliance Center down in Sioux Falls, had a lot of good speakers from the VA, which, I mean, we usually get some when we're out in Pierre, but we had more people that could come over for a couple hours right from the VA and talk about filing claims and some of the other benefits. So that was a plus there from that standpoint. So I would venture to say it might be going back there in the future again too. So I have completed the online training to be able to be a VA enrollment manager to administer Jay's OJT program. This gives Jay an ability to use some of his VA benefits that he acquired. He's got a few months of GI Bill. This is a program set up by the state and the VA. I basically have to just do some online training, which I've got that done. We've submitted the request to get the OJT program approved. We basically have to do a little tracking of his hours on different subjects and stuff like that. And then he'll utilize the remaining part of his GI Bill. So it's a win-win for him from that standpoint. Also, we'll be talking a little bit later about work study program, which I've completed that training also. That's to be a work study site. So I'll talk a little bit about that later. One thing that I would ask when I sent this around is I would like to seek approval on a bid from Sign Pro for $2,100. This will get us the new signage so people know where we're at there. Again, this was not a budgeted item for me, so.
I think we need, yeah, put it on next week's agenda.
Okay,
So,
I mean, I guess that quote or whatever.
okay. Basically, for future, we got Jay is starting to look into Vetrospect, looking through some Honor the Pact Act. We're being able to identify some additional benefits that veterans maybe have filed for that were denied. So that's it takes a lot of time because you got to bounce it between the VA records and what we have there. So he's identified probably a half dozen. I think he's down through the J's. That's just within a couple of the conditions like hypertension. So he's doing that and also trying to correct some of the other stuff like that. Veterans Day again, Friday, 10 November, 1,000 hours. Secretary Whitlock will be speaking, and that's at the County Extension Building. Any questions of me?
so one quick question. So if a veteran needs to update something in DEERS, does that have to be done at an ID card office, or can you guys help with that? It's got to be done ID card.
That's got to be done out here at the local.
They're helpful out there. So that's.
Yes.
yeah, Just.
Yep.
to-
And they can always call. We have the number for the office out there.
Okay.
So are you all moved into your new facility now and everything's out of the old building?
Yep. Everything is cleared out of the old place and we're in the new one and everything
Going good.
going good.
All right.
Here, just a comment. Again, I got to visit with a lot of commissioners when I was down at that show. That's what we go down there for, but I spent quite a bit of time with the commissioners from Davison County and Mitchell. And they were sharing with me the fact that they have now cooperated with some of the counties around Mitchell. And you're aware of that.
Yes.
I figured you were, but anyway, you invited me to tell you to, if you got any questions about how they went about it or what process that they went through, I have his his name, but you probably ought to just contact the veteran service officer right there in Davidson County. But they brought in, I think, 3 or 4 different counties surrounding that area. They do it, I think, a way that I would prefer that if something like that would occur here, that they would come into Watertown to the office here, but I think their veteran service officers go out to the different counties of 1 day a week or something like that. I don't know all the specifics, but and I asked them about, do they receive any financial assistance from these other counties? And they do. Not much, very little. And he's disappointed in the fact that the state hasn't, that's all we hear when we talk about budget. You people need to start doing things together, working together. And then when it comes right down to it, it seems like the state backs up so fast that they, can't get out of the room quick enough. When you say, okay, here's your opportunity to help us. But he said it took some doings, but they do get, I think the cost of the veteran service officer for that county, they get back into Davidson County. Don't quote me on any of this.
They formalize, it's a bit more, so kind of a
Yes.
formalized thing of, I mean, we help other counties too, but.
It's a formalized mess,
It's more formalized.
the way it sounds.
Yeah.
So anyway, I told the commissioner that I would contact you or tell you to contact his VSO officer. And that, I figured the people personally.
We actually, when we were down there in September, we talked to them and I knew the previous VSO officer that kind of got that going. And I think how they had kind of adopted that is that some of those smaller counties, the VSO retired.
Yeah.
And then they were able to say, well, hey, if you want us to handle that for you, we'll get the stipend from you, which again, it's not a lot as far as what they get in a stipend from the state.
So is that a contract that they have with these other counties and to provide that service?
I believe it's something of that. Yeah,
So that would be a pretty easy thing to do,
it would, but I would say that for the most part, a couple of our counties have full-time
Yeah.
that it would
Yeah.
be.
So there is a, one of the list of things that the summer study committee on county funding is looking at, are some kind of a question about regionalization of VSOs.
Yep.
So just so you're aware of that, I don't know where that's gonna go, but it could take the form of legislation, so.
We had a group of, we actually had 3 county VSOs speak in July during one of the sessions
You're right.
in
Yeah.
regards
Yeah.
to that from that standpoint. It will be interesting, the VSOs, we have our own organization from that standpoint, the county VSOs, county and tribal VSOs that don't work for the state. It'll be interesting to see. I think it's got merit both ways from that standpoint, but
One of the things that was brought to my attention that I really hadn't thought about before, and I should have, I'm embarrassed that I did, but they said some of the counties that, no offense, Brenda, but they said like the auditor is acting as the VSO or the emergency management individual, or, somebody that actually has another job.
Yeah.
They said, we're not doing justice to the veterans by doing that.
Right.
And I think people will understand, us here understand, you can see the amount of work that our VSO officers are doing. They're busy and learning the new programs and learning, well, just in this past year, it's been monumental, the new stuff that has come. And are these veterans getting cheated in some of these counties that don't have a full-time VSO? I think they probably are, and I hadn't really thought about that before, but that'd be a selling point if we need to do that sometime.
I agree 100% from that standpoint.
Can those veterans reach out to you?
Yep.
So even if they're from another county, an adjacent county, they can contact you for services.
Yes, and we work with anybody, that's where I didn't cover that here. We have 55 veterans outside the county that we've worked with so far this year and 24 claims completed.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where that number goes now that
So those statistics are going to be important to keep track of as this regionalization is discussed, because if ultimately that is the decision that the state wants to go, there's numerous counties. We do it 911. It's regional dispatch center, and we just have contract counties, and
Yeah.
Seems to work well,
I
but
think we're doing our share. The state needs to catch up. I hope they heard that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Sure they did.
Number 15, let's take number 15 on the agenda. That's the work study. content.
Okay,
Let's
yep,
go
yep,
through that
yep,
while you're
yep,
here.
yep. We've been approached by a current South Dakota Army National Guard soldier wanting to participate in a VA work study program for the next 2 years. She's completed the first 2 years at LAPC, is now continuing her Bachelor of Science in Health degree by completing an online program at USD. We did not know anything about this program. She sought this out. Her and her father came into our office and talked to us about it. We did a little bit of research into it. From that standpoint, this is all federal dollars. Workman's comp is, so should be no cost at all to the county, no liability, because according to, they're on chapter 5, a title, or chapter 81, compensation for work injuries. So there shouldn't be anything out of pocket. 25 hours is the max per week. It doesn't have to be 25 hours. Up to, and this is basically a program that she's utilizing her GI Bill, but this is a VA work study program. It's an additional stipend that she gets for working within the veterans area. That from that standpoint, we can stop it at any time if we don't feel that it's adding any efficiency to us, or if it's okay, this is getting to be too much. But according to what we understand, and we've talked with a gentleman that handles 4 work studies for SDSU, he has them just on a rotating basis there. And he can't say enough good about it. It gives them some opportunity to, at times, to, hey, we need this done and this done and this done. Again, they can't drive any government vehicle or anything else. They basically come there, they're working on the computer. We'll probably have them start continuing all those file cabinets that we had with all the DD 214s and those old records. That all needs to be gone through. DD 214s need to be pulled. So, I mean, we have plenty of stuff to do for quite some time. So, and that's kind of what we were looking at. I believe that you guys got this information too. I've completed the training. We've submitted in the application on askva.gov. It's been there for about a week. It could take up to 30 days. Again, just because I submitted the application doesn't mean that we have to do this, but I wanted to get going with that from that perspective. Any questions, I guess?
As a liaison to the Veteran Service, they did inform me of this process and brought me up to date on this program, and it sounded like, I mean, I was involved in work study, working with work study students for 35 years, and anytime you can get hands-on, feet in the trenches, that's where you learn. That's a good program.
Well, is there a motion to approve this?
So move.
A motion by Johnson,
second,
second by Waterman. Yeah, just the only question I had. So this person, it sounds like a good thing. So they're going to be handling HIPAA stuff, and privacy stuff. So is that just in the supervision duties for, just to make sure that we understand that, or is there a background check or anything like that?
They already have a secret security clearance from the military side of things.
Right.
And we'll also, before we start anything, we have some counseling, or just like, hey,
Some
this,
orientation.
this,
Yeah,
yep.
onboarding. Yeah, okay. All right, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. Yeah, motion carries.
Thank you, Todd.
Thanks,
Thank
Todd.
you.
Keep up the good work.
it's Todd.
The welfare director.
It was a good find.
Hi, I brought my whole crew today.
All right, you got the whole crew
The
here.
whole crew is here.
Oh,
Here
boy.
is our court.
I think I have it.
No, well, just
You can give me a new one. Huh?
oh, yeah. The Paige is passing out the community health worker information, which, because that's what I really wanted to highlight.
Sure.
She's okay.
Okay.
Um,
No, I don't.
Yeah, so I really wanted to highlight our community health worker program today. I know we've talked about it for a long time, and now we've got things up and going. So I'll go ahead and start though with just our data report. Any questions?
Would you introduce
I
your
was just-
staff?
Sure. Sorry, I know them.
Yeah.
This is Paige Welling. She is our community health worker. And Carrie Cranbrink is everything else. Like just
Technically admin specialist for right now,
yeah,
but I'm also doing the CHW certification program right
she's
now.
going through that. So yes. Yes. Yeah, so go ahead and get our basic stuff out of the way. Our data report, we had 37 individuals. Again, it's interesting that it's identical to a year ago in August. So that must be a busy time historically in our office. It's fun to see the numbers line up. Some of our costs of funeral assistance, we're getting right up to budget with that. And so we might have to pull from other line items in our budget with the funeral expenses that we've had. Rent assistance, the reason that's so high is because of the $15,000 that the county assisted with Watertown Cares for 612 flats. And so that's where a majority of that funding comes from with that. You can see our case management hours, that's largely due to the community health worker hours that we're doing, arranging a lot of transportation and those types of things with that care coordination. On the back, just again, our referrals, the completed services is again, the case management, which is the lines up with our community health worker positions. The CARES program is our largest referral, which is the program that Carrie's running in our office. And then they've added in the contacts, which is nice to have kind of what we're doing with the contacts with that.
That's generated in the system.
Yes, that's through the Headline Center Network of Care. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That. So, for what we've brought in or kind of where things are at, just in the report itself with the CARES ERA, that's the South Dakota CARES Housing Assistance Program that Carrie administers. She's received $4,000 in administrative fees in August. That was what she brought in for that. ICAP had 42.5 hours in August. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later on. And then our impact or CHW program in August, we were reimbursed $7,771 from the grant that we had for that. Currently, that grant is reimbursing 100% of all of the costs with the CHW. So that includes all of Paige's time, some of my time where I'm supervising and administering that, as well as any of the material costs and things like that, as well as Carrie's been working on the billing. And so it also covers some of her time, and she's also able to start seeing clients through that too. So that 7,771 covers all of those expenses with that. So I wanted to give a little overview of the impact program, what we're doing. Impact stands for Individuals Making Positive Actions Can Thrive. That's what the acronym is for with that. And we've been really excited about how that's gone. Paige has put together some of the handouts that we have and the referral information that we can give to people. Really, we're seeing a great response to that. And I don't know if you want to say anything about what you're doing, or if you want me to just
Go for it.
Okay, sounds good. So initially when we started this program, we had identified that we wanted to work with people in the detention center kind of as a diversion program. And then some of the things evolved and changed, and we decided to expand our population. And so the primary population that Paige has been working with is kind of those individuals that fall through the cracks. There may be high utilizers. We see them in our office a lot. They're coming through for South Dakota Cares for many, many months, needing a lot of assistance. And we just realized like there's kind of a group of people that just need life assistance. And so Paige has been really able to do that. She's doing a fantastic job and has seen some real successes. Has gotten multiple people housed now. Some people, there's at least 4 people she's gotten housed in permanent housing and income-based housing. So it's going to be sustainable long-term housing that they can afford. And I will say it's been some situations where I'm like, their rental history and everything, this is an uphill battle. I don't know if you're ever going to get them housed. And she has managed to do that. And so it's been really exciting to see that persistence be able to pay off. One of the wonderful things about the community health workers, they can work with everything across the board and be with them long-term. And so we're not on a tight timeline that you have to get things done in 6 weeks or whatever. She has some time to continue to work with them. So her client that she just got housed, she started with in April.
February.
Okay, so February, and now they're getting into permanent housing here October 1st. And so it takes time to get it, and so. Has also helped her with a lot of medical issues. She's diabetic and has gotten her kind of on the right path for her healthcare. She goes with her to her healthcare appointments and all of those kinds of things as well too. One of the things that we're excited for is when Carrie becomes certified as a CHW, when she finishes her coursework. I've restarted the conversations with Matt at the detention center about entering the detention center and expanding some of those services, and he's open to that. And so I'm hopeful that with Carrie coming on board, that we can revisit the idea of assisting people that are currently in the detention center that maybe aren't those. They're not drug court, they're not high, heavy duty offenders, they're just kind of the low level in and out of the detention center individuals that we can provide some support with.
How close are you, Carrie?
December 15th is the last day.
So,
Pretty close.
so the
Yeah,
the program's like 6 months, right?
Yeah, yep, it's just the fall semester.
Yeah.
So it started with the whenever Lake Area Tech started.
Right, okay.
And goes till, I think the last day is like the 15th of December.
Good.
And you're doing those online, right? Yep.
Yeah, and that's all covered through the grant too.
Right.
And her time at that too.
Okay.
So one of the other things that a big push through the state through the grant is sustainability. And so we've been really focused on becoming sustainable so that we're not using county funds to cover these positions. And the way to do that is through Medicaid. So Carrie, yesterday we had a little celebration, submitted our first Medicaid reimbursement. It's a whole long process to go through. And so she submitted that first reimbursement to start pulling in the funds for what Paige is doing. We also found out that in January, Medicare is also going to reimburse for CHWs. And so basically all of Paige's clients at this point will be Medicaid and Medicare.
A double dipper now.
What'd you say?
A double dipper.
Yes,
So
yeah.
what are there particular services like, is this anything like case management, anything, or is it just very specifically medically related stuff?
It's related to the social determinants of health. So it's the Z codes, if you
Oh,
get into
okay.
the billing.
All right. Well,
And so it's a different, so it's not specifically healthcare, it's more of the housing. You and Carrie
It's,
can.
yeah, it's more like the housing, like social, just like it, like the ones that use like the welfare office, like are in there constantly and stuff, we can bill for that kind of stuff. Pretty much like any of the case management we can bill for, but the only thing that we can't bill for is transportation. So like if we're driving them to and from their appointments, that's not, we can't bill for that.
right, okay.
But like if we're working on, you know, housing or just like social supports, family, like say they have some family conflicts or whatever, and they need to do counseling for that, we can, you know, we can take them to do that kind of stuff. There's a whole page of codes that, you know, that we can do, but it's kind of like pretty much a gamut of everything.
Is all that code, it's like the the coding stuff that medical assistants do. So is that part of your CHW certification?
No,
Or
that's just Carrie.
That's just you figuring it out. You're just figuring it out. Okay.
Figuring it out.
We-
It's a long process, but.
All right.
When we decided to go through that Medicaid billing process, I said to them, I was like, I don't have time to do this. So if we're gonna do this, I'm gonna need you guys to take that on and do it. And Carrie has been fantastic taking it on and doing it. There is an option if we decide it's too much or it's not working or it's just not feasible. There are companies we can contract with for the billing, but right now Carrie has some background in medical billing and so has the ability
All right.
to take that
Good.
on.
Yeah, we
Thank
started
you.
the process in April, I believe,
Mhm,
and I submitted my first claim yesterday, so it's taken a while,
mhm.
but. Cause you get through one step and they're like, okay, now you gotta wait for approval, and then you have to do another step and another step and.
We ordered a pickup in November and we just got it last week.
Yeah, so
Same deal.
we had our review with the grant reviewers last week. They have a sustainability review that they do. They meet with us every month to look at where we're at with our sustainability, and we're at 91% for sustainability for the grant. And so I'm really happy with that. Once we actually receive reimbursement, that'll go up quite a bit. So, yeah, so that's. Any questions about the impact program or how it works? Paige has also been sending out information to all of our referral sources and things. She's up to a caseload of 10. 11. 11. It increases every day. Our goal is to have her between 10 to 15. Because it's such intensity, if she gets some lower intensity, she could possibly go up to 20, but we don't.
That's what
want
I was wondering, if you plan on growing it
to.
and what that involves if you do grow it. So you're gonna try to keep it under 15.
Did you design all this, Paige?
Um,
You just worked on it to put it together?
Yeah, this
It's a
was,
collaborative effort.
so
It looks
this
great.
impact, the impact flyer or wrap card,
Mhm.
we had started before previously with Nicole, when she was here, we had it developed that, and then we've adjusted that a little bit, and then the other materials were through the state.
Okay,
So it's been nice to have their support too, and then
It's really nice.
Paige has personalized them to us
Yeah.
with that.
awesome.
So good.
Good work.
Anything
Good.
else in your report?
Yes, sorry, I do have some other things. So I just wanted to update on the Watertown Cares Board, which I am the treasurer for. Watertown Cares 612 Flats opened August 29th, and so that's been really great to see that open. It's currently full with 20 people living in the flats, and I want to point out specifically that those are 20 people that we are not having to help find housing or fund through the county, and so it's been a huge relief from us for the county to be able to send them over there. And they're definitely using, he has about 20 people on the waiting list as well. And so it's full with the waiting list. Also, even shocking to me as somebody who works in the field and sees it, in that first week where he had 19 people in within the first week because they had been waiting to get in, of the 19 people, 10 of them were children. And that to me is a shocking number of people that we have. There's one large family, but there were 3 families with children staying there in that first week.
Is there like an anticipated time frame that's would stop there and then?
Well, if they're not working towards their goals, it's like 2 weeks to 30 days. They have to be working towards their goals, but if they're working towards their goals and they're just waiting for that housing to open up, it's until they get to their housing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that can be. Also, along with that, we realized, we were having a conversation, Brenda and I were having a conversation. I had dropped my budget for next year by $10,000 with the anticipation that we would support Watertown Cares. But we just didn't have our ducks in a row to be able to get the nonprofit request in. And so we actually don't have that in on the request. And so I'm wondering if there's a way we can correct that, whether I return that to my budget and we plan for that, or we can add in a nonprofit if there's opportunities for that, because it's definitely alleviating. That's all hotel rooms
Was
that we
that,
would
was that
have
under
to
the, was
use.
that a nonprofit budget page or was that within your, was it within?
This year, so what we had set up is this year for 2023, we had done $15,000 along with the city, the $15,000 for city, county, Prairie Lakes Hospital and the Community Foundation. And kind of associated with that request was next year would be a $10,000 request and year 3 would be a $5,000 request on those. And then from there, hopefully we would have sustainability for the.
So
Watertown
it
Cares.
was supposed to be 10 for
It's
24
supposed to be $10,000 for
and
2024.
then 25 would be 5,000.
Right.
Okay, well, that would have to be an amendment then, next
To the
week
budget.
when we, let's. Okay. Okay, I guess we'll have to take a look at the whole picture.
Do we just put that on the agenda as an item?
It can be amended when we
When we do the budget,
Yeah.
just do it within
You
our,
guys make an amendment to add that.
yeah, we just do it within a
Okay.
amendment. We might want to think about if there's, then,
Or,
okay,
You know, there's another way too, like if you do, you can use commercial contingency or something.
Yeah.
like that too.
So.
yeah, let's consider which way we want to do it, if whether or not we want to, and then, so maybe if you could bother one of us, like, so I guess
Myra?
your liaison is
Yeah, Myra.
Mr. Johnson, if you want to bug me,
Okay.
maybe in the next couple of days, so that
Okay.
we kind of have that thought through.
So, yeah, either way. whichever
Yeah.
way you decide.
Okay, sounds good. Well.
I thought it through, I know it, but.
No, I mean, how we want to do it.
So I should
Do we wanna just
contact
kind
Commissioner Gable.
of expect to,
Mhm.
do we want to expect to do it with contingency if we have to?
We'll get it done.
Frugality,
Because
Either way, we'll get it.
I might add, the other agencies are also on board with this
Right,
too. So,
right.
if we drop off, then,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Right.
I'm sorry, there's a lot today. I know we're later in the, also regarding the ICAP contract, that expires October 31st. I wanted to start some discussion. I do, given where we're at with staffing and what we're able to do, I'm not going to recommend renewing that ICAP contract. I don't think that's the best way to use county funds, because I think we can handle things in our office. So that I just also wanted to bring that up, that.
Is that in your budget?
It's under, so it would be under the contract services, and so
Roughly how much would that be a year?
I have to look.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I can look
Because
at
that
it.
might be a place where.
Yeah,
you
we can
utilize
adjust.
that.
And that would be.
You said
Yeah.
you're now able to use the
Mhm.
needs,
Okay.
meet the needs with
So-
staffing.
I guess, can I talk as far as an ICAP?
So,
I'm-
yeah,
I'm a
You're
ICAP.
on the board.
Yeah, I'm on the board, the ICAP board. I've had conversations with Eric. You know, and it's unfortunate, but in ways he understands too, that, you know, if you're able to do it yourself, totally understands that. And just want to keep good relations
Mhm.
between and keep working, because how we initially thought this and the way it was kind of happening at first is that ICAP individual is doing the intakes. That's not really happening anymore. So the intakes are going on at the ICAP office with Cindy. So that kind of, you know, it just has
Yeah.
turned into something different. So, and
Right.
not saying long-term, who knows, going into the road, maybe
Right.
down the road, maybe there's other ways to utilize ICAP, but right now for what that is, it's just, yeah. The county's best
I think
interest.
it's good that, you know, we're not just saying, well, this is the way we've always done it,
Mhm.
you know, to looking, you know. kind
Put
of
it on a
looking-
pause.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking for greater, you know, how to be efficient based
Mhm.
on the way things are, so.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So the,
Yeah,
so
if you
the,
could- I think it might help if we knew like roughly how much that.
Yep,
That was gonna be. that
yep,
would-
I will look
in
at
the
that.
budget. That would be, that might answer the other question about the.
Sure.
The
Yep.
CARES money.
sounds good. Yeah, I'll break that down a little bit.
Okay.
And then just a real quick update about the systems of care. We had our interagency meeting, had about 30 people there, was at Fallout Shelter this month, which was great. Our agencies of the month are the Helpline Center with some of their suicide awareness information. Our individual is Jessie Wetzel, who's done a huge job for our community regarding the Safe Coalition and just bringing some awareness with that. She's also with Better Together Counseling. Our advisory council met last week and our working groups continue to meet and work on things. I am going to the Early Learners Childcare Conference this week in Brookings, and so hope to get some more information about childcare and what we can do for our community. And then we'll be presenting at the Center for Prevention and Childhood Maltreatment Conference, October 5th and 6th, with the rest of our Resilient Communities team as for statewide what we're doing. Like that, what we've done. Oh, ribbon cutting. Thank you. Thank you. This is why we have Carrie here with us. Ribbon cutting for 612 Flats is tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. And so if you're able to make it at all, that would be a fantastic. We would love to have you. We want to have a great turnout to that ribbon cutting tomorrow at 2 p.m. at 612 Flats.
Where's that at?
The 612 Flats,
Yeah,
which
yep.
is, yep,
Right there, right
right
there.
there. Yep. Oh, yeah, good. Parking, I would recommend parking in like the
The bank?
Tokyo. No, yeah, don't park in the bank. Do not park in the bank. I would say like on that strip mall with Tokyo, with the stores there with that Smoke Solutions.
All right, any other
Okay.
questions?
No, that was a lot.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Report. Yep.
We'll talk about that
All
later.
right.
It's not the good.
Oh,
Moving on with our agenda, we have number 15 is, or sorry, number 16, we did 15. 16 is action to clarify credit card machines model VX 520 at the treasurer's office, surplus to be destroyed. Yeah, so it says sold on the agenda we distributed, but there's the correct term is not sold but destroyed. So
Move to approve.
we got a motion by Johnson, a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Schwer. Okay, any discussion on that one? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no, that motion carries. And then county safety awards, so we had, those of us that were at the Commissioners Convention got to hear this, and so we had golds.
Yes, so we had gold and platinums for the maintenance and just as the building facilities as well. So they get every year, I'll show you. With it being on the county maintenance, they received a plaque this year because they ran out of room, so there's only so many spots on these plaques, and then after every other year, then they'll get the little thing to put on there, so.
So
Excellent.
that's what's good about that is, well, number one, these guys keep doing it, getting golds and platinums. So it's both the highway shop and the maintenance guys. And that helps with our insurance rates.
That's
So this is awarded by our insurance pool. So, so that's, it's a good, it's what's just good to be safe, but then it's also saves us some money as well. So appreciate that good work
That is-
on the part of all the people that work in both the highway shop and maintenance. So, okay, so number 18 though on the agenda is to acknowledge the passing of former county employees and officials.
Correct.
Do you-
You know what? I gotta look in here. I believe you need to make, we've made motions in the past to approve or
Okay.
to recognize the following awards. So we need a motion for the safety and loss control recognition award.
Okay, so we got a motion by Johnson.
Second.
Second by Van Duzen, and this is to acknowledge those 2023 county safety awards. So any discussion?
Were there individual awards
For individual
for
people?
personal, personnel or
No.
just?
It's
individual?
done, it's done by
Just
county,
by
county agency.
department.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
no.
I knew that
overall.
they gave that. I just didn't know if there was any
Yeah.
additional awards.
No.
So, perfect.
And
All
it
right.
shows all the other counties. I can
Oh.
scan and email it if you'd
Yeah,
like,
here
something
we-
like that.
Yeah, I'd
It
like
shows
to
on the
see it.
back how
Yeah,
many
you can
years.
see how many awards that they've got in the past as well.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
it's we have a good record in this county. So thanks to those guys. So hearing any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Let's say no. That motion carries. Okay, so number 18 is action to acknowledge the passing of former county employees and officials. So
We had 4 of those individuals, Heine Jungi, Highway Superintendent from 1983 to 1995. Larry Merchant, custodian. He was with the county from 2018 to 2020. Steve Coyle, custodian, 2007 to 2015. And then Donnie Olson, he was Memorial Park Campground from 2001 to 2015.
So just
Make a motion to acknowledge.
so we got a motion by Van Duzen.
I'll second it.
So second by Schwer. So
Sure.
something that I would just say is, we just keep these families in their thoughts and prayers. We appreciate the service of these individuals. And this is part of another, I guess, recognition that we do at the state level with the county commissioners convention is statewide. They name the folks that have passed during the past year. So during the previous year before the convention. So would anybody else like to make any comments? Okay, well, hearing none, all in favor of the acknowledgement, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries. Again, keep these folks in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you. All right, so number 19, discussion possible action to enact a burn ban. I think we're okay. It's been.
Myron had a conversation with Andrew this morning.
Andrew said, just keep it on the agenda, but he didn't think it was necessary now because Brenda promised it was gonna rain Wednesday.
Well, if I don't get my pool down, it will.
It's on, yeah, so it's on the August.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, then she should get a roll, something.
Okay.
A salad or something.
All right. All right, thank you for that. So nothing for 20, and then we do have, we got claims, okay.
So, the first one I'll do is all the verified claims from the month. And, the state pass-through amount, well, and I kind of went through here, there wasn't anything really that stuck out. I highlighted a couple things, obviously in the government buildings, the benches came. So that is in there, and then the courtroom, the carpet upstairs is done, so those claims are in.
Okay, so a lot of the redacted stuff that people are seeing
Yes.
online is because it's
Personal.
stuff like
Yeah.
names and
I can leave the amounts, but I have to take names and
a lot of it's jury.
a lot
duty.
of that stuff out of there, so.
Yeah.
It doesn't, no connections can be made, yes. Then on page 6 in the sheriff's or county jail, it's the bathroom remodel, that amount came out this month. Sorry, I forgot to tell you the page before that I was.
Those
on.
are the steel.
Yeah, and I don't really have anything else unless someone else has a question about a claim, but those are kind of some of the bigger ones this month that we paid. So, the state pass-through amount was $705,174.88. And then you also see on the bottom on page 13, the fire department trust amounts came out this month. So that is determined by value and census of how much these local fire departments receive from the state for apportioned funds. So that amount was $153,489.77. So the actual county claims this month was $877,189.11.
Brenda, just a question on Register of Deeds for US Imaging.
What page? Oh, it says.
It's page 12.
Yep, she is starting to get her her images transferred over digitally.
Right,
That's
okay.
what that is.
Is that just a one-time payment thing, or is that gonna be a?
It will be ongoing. She has money in the M&P fund to do that. So that's what that modernization and preservation fund is used for.
Okay.
So she has to budget for it with using, I mean, that's kind of the source of the money.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just something then, she's been working on this for several years and then it's quite a process until you go through all the records and
Yeah.
look at them and,
So-
but yes, that is what that was for.
So
Thank you.
Yes, it's not just scanning, but they also have to make the scans searchable. So,
Well, and those funds are there for that purpose, so it's not anything that's coming out of county budget per se, it's money that's divvied out through the state. From the recording fees.
anything
All right.
else? So we need a motion and a second to pay the bills. Okay,
So moved.
so motion by Johnson, second by Waterman. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. That motion carries.
Okay, we had another claim come in after the time that the original ones were done. It's for the HVAC project. It is with Johnson Controls for $2,039,528. We need you to approve that so we can get them paid for the work that they have done so far.
So this is budgeted, guys. So
moved.
motion by
I'll
Waterman,
second it.
second by Schwer. So can you say that amount again? 2,000,000.
$2,039,528. So 039, there you go. Yep, 528.
All right, any other discussion on that particular claim? So just real quick, so this is, this is 2 million and some out of 4 million that are budgeted for this particular project. So that's good to get that paid this year. So,
Right, and I just got this yesterday, so I couldn't get it.
right.
But
Okay,
If you want to look at it, you are certainly welcome to.
all right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So that. motion
And we
carries.
have the 911 fees, which I'm sure Troy will recuse himself.
I will.
All right, and that amount is, it will be paid to the city of Watertown, the amount of $23,481.36 from the state of South Dakota, and this is for the period of July 2023, so they're a little behind.
So moved.
Motion by Johnson,
Second that.
second by Schwer. Any other discussion? So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. That motion carries.
Okay.
Any other claims?
No other claims.
Okay.
Now we have budget supplement
All
though.
right. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is a automatic budget supplement that will go back into the welfare budget. It is for ERA2 funds, which is her rental assistance, and the amount is $24,192.88.
Move to approve.
Motion by Schwer,
Second.
second by Van Dusen. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. That motion carries. Personnel change. So any other?
We have one, no other. Nope.
So one personnel
One.
change.
We have one personnel change. It is for Christina Solom. Her effective date to start is 10/2/2023 as administrative support in the state's attorney's office, starting at step 4, $20.23 an hour, new hire.
So moved.
So motion by Johnson. Your second,
Second.
Second by Schwer. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries. Okay, and then
One
travel request.
travel request, and that is for Memorial Park, Park and Recreation Annual Conference. And you have all the other details there, and that is all I have on that.
So moved.
So motion by Van Duzen. Is there a
So
second?
moved.
Second by Waterman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries. Okay, and any public notices, possible quorum of commissioners, we got the ribbon cutting at 612 flats that Sarah mentioned. I think, I want to say there's an interagency meeting this week as well.
That wasn't my
Or was
last.
that was last week?
That was
Okay.
last week.
Okay, never mind. So I guess I solved that problem.
Is anybody else attending the LAPC meeting this noon?
Yes, I am.
So I don't, yeah, so it's just the two of you, okay.
Is that today?
Yeah.
It is today.
Yeah,
That is. the-
I have it on my calendar. I just haven't got that far
Got
yet.
that fine.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, any old business?
I do have one thing for old business. Steve brought to your attention a piece of property at last week's meeting that the county owns that you guys could, and I have the information there for you. Sell that piece of property. I had an individual stop up to the office who is actually interested in purchasing it. Just another note of interest, it has a couple dead trees on it that are in need of being taken down or something. So the process is we would put it on the agenda, you would declare this property surplus. We would set up a committee then to estimate the value and then schedule an auction, kind of like we did earlier with the tax deed. So it's up to you if you want to start that process or not, and if you want me to put it on the agenda to get it on the tax rolls again.
What's the, where's the?
Is that the one on 11th?
Yeah, something over
Right
there. The
there.
property is,
Right
Isn't that a pretty narrow lot or something? or
yeah, it's
something?
25 by 150 is
Okay.
what it
Okay.
is. It's lot 10, block 7, Davis edition. I don't have the address on here that I see, but Steve kind of gave that last.
Well, we just put that on next week's agenda, wouldn't we?
If you want that, if that's what you want to happen, yes, then I would start that process.
Yeah, let's put it on next week's agenda and
Start the
clear up
process
the start
That,
process.
and then so.
to make it surplus.
So when the committee, we can put on the agenda, but so you form a committee to assess, come up with a value or.
And we did before, so Carol had like someone from the director's office and Steve and yeah, just we'll put a committee
the
together.
experts.
The ones that we usually use.
Right, okay.
If you're okay with that.
Well,
Well, yeah, I do, Chair, I do have something.
yeah, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
guess
this
this would be probably under new business,
Okay.
but as mentioned before, Terry Sorensen and I had an opportunity to meet with Rick Hartley from the highway shop. We went out and looked at some different locations for that Corners building. And we just couldn't find a location that was suitable for that building at the highway shop. We went out and looked at a different location out on West 212 there, that county-owned property that we lease out every year for Hain. And we feel that that might be a good location. So I don't know where we move from here or what the next step would be, but that's where we're at with that building right now. I know it needs to probably go out for bids.
For the building itself. yeah,
Sometime.
yeah, and then-
So I'd like to begin those discussions with this board on their thoughts on maybe putting it out there. But either way, it's got to be on county-owned land, so I'd like to get some feedback from you and.
Well, here's my feedback. I know we need to place it somewhere. I don't know if that's the right place. This is me talking. Number one, that's a piece of property that county owns. That doesn't seem like we're finding use for it, so it may become something that we would want to sell as a piece of property. I'll tell you right now, the property would sell a lot better and a lot quicker if it did not have any buildings on it. Plain and simple. If it was a bare piece of land, there'd be more interest in it than if there was something. Now, I'm gonna throw in something into this train of thought here. And this
this building, it's not gonna be cheap, and I know. Commissioner Washburn mentioned last week about putting the higher walls on it so that someday if somebody else wants to use it, it'd be more usable, but. You know, one thing we don't have, and you heard just briefly here, when in our welfare report about the funerals. We don't have a crematorium in Watertown. Maybe we should combine the two things together. A place to store the bodies and a crematorium in one facility. And there we have a revenue source. Now, I'm just talking, just food for thought, just planting a seed here.
Yeah, well,
Think about it, it's hard enough to find a building to place. For its use that we're talking about. Well, if we could find it, maybe it'd be also suitable for crematorium. Just a thought.
Well, it is a thought, and it's an interesting and open discussion, and my first thought was. I think everybody goes to Sioux Falls right now.
Yeah.
But. Who owns the crematorium down there? Does the county own the crematorium?
No.
Can the coroner run a crematorium?
I think what you're asking is outside the scope of what the coroner's
Yeah,
responsibilities are. At this point, the problem that we have is, as you know, is there is no place to store bodies. Yeah. And so we have the refrigeration unit, but we have no building to put it in. And that building has to be on county property. We've had this discussion now for probably going on 6 or 7 months, and we haven't really come up with a solution to that problem. So that's what we're looking at. So we have the refrigeration unit that we budgeted for and purchased this year that is sitting in a crate, not being used. We need to figure out what to do with that.
The other
And
thing,
so-
west of town, there's no electrical service out there. I mean, it'd have to be dug in, put in,
Mhm.
and I think we're all gonna be surprised when we get some prices, because when you talk 30 by 30 building,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
fairly expensive with 9, 10, 11-foot sidewalls. That's
Well,
expensive. Then you put the concrete under it. That's really. So we're talking about a sizable amount.
Let's do this. I mean, I think, we have to understand the pros and cons of every option to include that one. So you offered some cons. So I think, yeah.
I
You
have
want to sit down and talk, maybe we can sit down and talk about that with Terry and say. Yeah, that's right.
I have a question. Does it have to be county owned property? I mean, it's something we could rent as well, right?
The refrigeration unit itself is county owned, so
Right.
that would be up to this commission, I guess, if you want
If
to
you
put
want to.
privately owned
Yes.
Yeah.
county property on private property. or not.
Right. It would be an
So-
insurance sort of thing that
Mhm.
would have to happen, but
Yeah.
I don't know, has everybody really thought outside the box on this?
Well,
Yeah, that's
you said you looked at the state highway shop.
Mhm.
We don't
Yeah.
have some. Hidden piece of property like we just found a few weeks ago, do
We
we?
really don't. We went through the buildings out there and they're all full. They really are.
The county shop.
The highway shop is full, the county shop is full. Not only that, but the staff probably, most likely doesn't want bodies stored in their workspace. So that's something to think about too, but.
How about the triangular piece out on the south side of the county shop, the lawn? There's a pretty good chunk of land there.
We've had the discussion with Rick and Rick is not real supportive of having this building on his.
Well,
shop building.
sometimes it's kind of like not in my backyard deal,
Right.
You said on planning and zoning board, Troy, for a few years, and you understand. that
Yeah, no, I
sometimes
do get it.
You have to
Larry.
do this,
No, I do understand.
We are the ones that have to make the decision.
That's right.
Ultimately, not.
Okay, well, I would,
County owns the property.
Mr. Chair, I would like to see a committee of commissioners form then to examine this issue because it's something that we're spinning our wheels on and it's not getting done.
Yeah,
Everybody has
yeah.
great ideas, but
So
so help come up with a solution.
Another commissioner, I mean, you're kind of the liaison for the one, right?
Yep.
And so it makes sense for you to continue.
have a quorum, so you probably should only do maybe 2.
Yeah, it would just be one commissioner.
Would
So
anybody
one
like to
commissioner.
serve on that with me then?
if you want, I'll sit with you on.
Okay, all right, we'll find a solution.
I'll do it if you guys don't. You want to do it, Charlie?
Sure.
Okay, so why don't you and Charlie put your heads together with Terry and then. And start that off for just until we get this thing figured out. So that'd be good. So, all
Yeah,
right,
need to
thank
get
you.
done.
Yeah, all right. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's not a fun topic, but okay. Any new business?
I have something else. I had an individual stop into the office yesterday. He is I don't know what his exact title is. Anyways, he is involved with the Prairie Lakes Mennonite Church. He would like to bring in a youth group to sing out here sometime. I don't know if that's something that you would allow or not. He just said the acoustics would be really good. I don't know when he plans. It would be during the day sometime, obviously. Not much more information. Just thought I'd throw it out there to see if that's something you would entertain or not.
Okay.
Or if you need to think.
Contact information, I guess.
Yes. I got his contact.
Call this gentleman.
Does this go back to the
Okay.
deputy that was singing in the rotundum?
No, it's not
No, I
any
mean,
involvement with him at all.
Kind of what started it.
Yeah, new individual.
I'll contact him if that's okay. Unless somebody else wants to. Okay, I can contact.
Yeah.
Hmm,
So-
I didn't know that we had a Prairie Lakes meeting. Okay, all right. Anything
all I
else?
had.
Anything else under new business? Okay, public comments under the open. I don't know, any phone calls, so commissioner comments. We've had a lot of commissioner.
Yeah, we
comments.
just had a lot of that.
So, okay. We need to go into exec.
Of course.
All right, for what? As contracts? Okay, contracts, okay. All right,
So that'd be
so
three.
is there a motion to go into executive session for numbers?
So moved.
For contract negotiations?
Second.
So motion by Johnson, second by Waterman. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
People say no, we are in exec. I don't think we anticipate any action afterwards.